Every woodworker loves the moment a fresh finish is applied. The grain pops, the surface gleams, and the project looks perfect. This initial beauty, however, is often just a temporary illusion. The real test of a wood finish is not how it looks on day one, but how it holds up after 5 years of real life. A dining table, for instance, must face the daily onslaught of hot coffee mugs, spilled water, shifting plates, and the relentless exposure to sunlight streaming through a window. The difference between a brand new, pristine surface and one that has endured half a decade of use can be, honestly, pretty shocking. What once was a flawless sheen can become a map of scratches, rings, and faded patches that tell a story of everyday life. Many finishing shortcuts promise a fast and beautiful result, and for a short time, they deliver. Quick-dry sealers and single-thick coats can make a piece look ready for the showroom floor in a matter of hours. But these time savers often create a brittle and poorly bonded finish that is destined for failure. Wood is not a static material. It moves, it expands and contracts with every shift in humidity. A finish that cannot move with the wood will inevitably crack and peel. A finish applied too quickly, without proper sanding and curing between coats, will not form a strong mechanical bond with the wood fibers, leaving it vulnerable to moisture and physical wear from the very beginning. To demonstrate this, I prepared several sample boards 5 years ago, all from the same piece of red oak. I finished them with 3 of the most common finishes available to woodworkers. The first is an oil-based polyurethane, known for its supposed toughness and durability. The second is a nitrocellulose lacquer, prized for its beautiful clarity and fast drying time, making it a favorite in production shops. The final finish is a modern hardwax oil, which works by soaking into the wood rather than forming a thick film on top of it. Each of these boards has been subjected to the same conditions: partial sun exposure, occasional water spills, and regular abrasion to simulate daily use. After 5 years, the story these boards tell is one of compromise. The strong-looking film finishes have begun to show their age in dramatic ways, while the more subtle oil finish has developed its own unique set of issues. The brutal truth is that no single finish is perfect for every situation. Understanding how each one fails over time is the key to choosing the right protection for your project, and knowing how to maintain it for the long haul. The goal is not to find an indestructible finish because one does not exist. The goal is to choose a finish whose failure mode you can live with and, more importantly, one that you can reasonably repair. Film finishes like polyurethane and lacquer work by creating a protective plastic-like layer on top of the wood. When new, this barrier is excellent at resisting spills and scratches, but after 5 years that rigid film becomes a liability. As the underlying wood expanded and contracted with seasonal humidity changes, the polyurethane finish on my sample board could not stretch enough. Along the grain lines and especially near joints, fine cracks have appeared. These tiny fractures are gateways for dirt and moisture. Sunlight has also made the polyurethane slightly yellow and more brittle, accelerating its decay. Where a heavy object was once dropped, the finish didn't just dent, it shattered, leaving a crater with peeling edges. Moisture is the ultimate enemy of a failing film finish. A coffee mug left on the lacquer sample for just a few minutes created a telltale white ring. This happens because moisture gets trapped underneath the film, clouding it. While you can sometimes blush out these rings with special solvents, it is a delicate process. Deeper damage, like the peeling I see on the edges of my board, is almost impossible to spot repair seamlessly. To fix it properly, the entire surface must be chemically stripped or sanded back to bare wood and refinished from scratch. This is a huge amount of work, erasing the initial convenience of the finish entirely. The lacquer board tells a similar story, but its failure is even more pronounced. Lacquer is a harder, more brittle finish than polyurethane, and it has developed a network of fine cracks, a condition known as crazing. In the area exposed to sunlight, the finish has yellowed significantly and lost its adhesion, flaking off when scraped with a fingernail. Near a corner joint, where wood movement is most concentrated, the lacquer has chipped away completely, exposing the raw wood underneath. This type of failure is common on older furniture, and is a direct result of a finish that cannot cope with the natural movement of wood over the long term. The simple fact is that once a film finish is compromised, it begins a rapid and irreversible decline. The promise of a durable, maintenance-free surface turns out to be true only as long as that surface remains perfectly intact. A single deep scratch or a failed joint is all it takes to break the seal. From that point on, moisture and dirt will get underneath the film, causing it to lift, peel, and discolor. The idea of a quick touch-up is mostly a fantasy. The only real solution is a complete refinishing job, which is often more work than the original finishing process. Unlike film finishes, hardwax oils are designed to penetrate the wood fibers and harden within them, leaving only a very thin layer of wax on the surface. They are part of the wood, not a coating on top of it. After 5 years, my hardwax oil sample board looks much different from the others. It has no cracks and no peeling, because there is no thick film to fail. The finish has moved with the wood, not against it. However, it shows a different kind of wear. In the area where I simulated high traffic, by rubbing it with a coarse cloth, the wood has turned a dull, slightly gray color. This is because the surface wax has worn away, and the oil-saturated fibers have become exposed to dirt and abrasion. The greatest advantage of a hardwax oil finish is its remarkable repairability. That gray, worn-out spot that looks like a failure is actually an opportunity for simple maintenance. Restoring the finish is incredibly easy. I simply wiped the area with a clean cloth to remove any loose dirt, then applied a tiny amount of fresh hardwax oil. I rubbed it into the wood for a minute, and then wiped off all the excess. Within minutes, the original color and sheen were restored. The new oil blended seamlessly with the old, leaving no witness lines or halo effect. This is a world away from the all-or-nothing repair process required for polyurethane or lacquer. However, this ease of repair comes with a trade-off. Oil finishes offer less initial protection against moisture. Because they don't create a waterproof film, a puddle of water left for an extended period can still penetrate the wood and cause a dark stain. On my test board, a water spot, left overnight, did darken the oak. While the finish did not turn white like the lacquer, the wood itself was stained. This demonstrates that while oil finishes are part of the wood, they do not provide a perfect moisture barrier. They demand a bit more mindfulness from the user, as spills should be wiped up promptly to prevent staining. The way hardwax oils handle humidity is also fundamentally different. They allow the wood to breathe. This means the wood can acclimate to ambient moisture levels more freely, which can reduce the stress that causes joints to fail. On the edges of my sample, the oil finish is still in perfect condition, whereas the film finishes have started to pull away. The oil-soaked fibers resist friction better than a brittle film. This is why you often see oil finishes used on things like wood-handled tools and flooring. They wear down gracefully and can be renewed indefinitely with minimal effort, becoming more beautiful with age. After 5 years of testing, a clear ranking emerges. For sheer durability against immediate damage, polyurethane is the strongest. It forms the toughest film and will resist scratches and spills the best, but only as long as that film remains unbroken. For repairability and long-term grace, hardwax oil is the undeniable winner. Its ability to be spot repaired and renewed makes it the easiest to maintain over the life of the furniture. Lacquer falls last in this contest. It is neither as durable as polyurethane, nor as repairable as oil, offering a poor compromise of brittleness and difficult maintenance, despite its initial beauty. The choice depends on your priority: short-term toughness or long-term livability. Based on these results, a better finishing protocol would focus on deep grain penetration rather than surface buildup. The first step should be to apply several coats of a thinned oil-based varnish or a penetrating oil finish. This initial application should be worked into the wood and the excess wiped off completely. This process saturates and hardens the wood fibers from within, creating a tough, flexible foundation that is part of the wood itself. It will not crack or peel because it is not a distinct layer. This deep protection is what provides the real lasting durability. Only after this penetrating foundation has fully cured should a top coat be considered, if at all. For a surface that needs maximum water resistance, a few very thin coats of a film finish like varnish can be applied over the oil-saturated wood. This creates a best of both worlds system: a flexible, deeply bonded base with a protective, renewable top layer. For most furniture, however, simply building up a few more layers of a hardwax oil over the initial penetrating coats provides a beautiful, durable, and supremely easy to maintain surface. This method takes more time up front but pays dividends for years to come. Ultimately, woodworkers and consumers must weigh the trade-off between immediate perfection and long-term performance. A thick, glossy, plastic-like finish may look impressive in a showroom, but it is often a brittle shell that will fail unattractively and be difficult to fix. A finish that is worked into the wood, even if it feels less slick to the touch, becomes an integral part of the piece. It ages gracefully, wears predictably, and can be brought back to life with a simple cloth and a little bit of oil. The brutal truth is that a lasting finish is one that accepts the nature of wood, and is designed to be maintained, not just admired.